Turn now to our other big story tonight. The owner of a reptile shop is attacked by his snakes. The 20-foot python wrapped himself around the man at Captive-Born Reptiles on Monmouth Street in Newport, prompting this frantic 911 call.
Okay, so the snake is squeezing, you think? Yes, it's wrapped around his neck. His whole face is covered. He's like, it's a 20-foot snake, I swear to God.
That man lived through the ordeal in part because of that woman's call and the officers who happen to know how to deal with snakes. Angela Ingram joins us live from Newport with the story, and it is a wild story, isn't it?
And it is, Rob, and what we've been told by police is that 3 officers helped with this situation. They were able to get the snake off of the owner, but we just saw him just a few minutes ago. I have to tell you, he walked back into the shop. He spoke with us briefly, and I'll share a little bit more with you at the end of the story. However, if it hadn't been for that lady being there, it could have been much worse.
It was like watching a horror movie. I mean, a horror movie in real life is all that was.
Ordinarily, Melissa McElfresh has no fear of this 20-foot-long, 125-pound python. But late this morning, her thoughts on the animal changed while she was helping the shop's owner clean its cage.
So I seen the snake's head turn, and I told him, Terry, I said, be careful. I said, he's looking at you. He's like, I know, it's all right. And no sooner he said that, it was just as quick as lightning.
In an instant, the python bit owner Terry Wilkins.
As he falls back, blood is gushing everywhere, and he falls to the ground, and the snake wraps around him from his torso to his neck.
I see him laying on the ground. I see a puddle of blood. He looks lifeless.
Sergeant Darren Arnberg rushed to Captive-Born Reptiles on Monmouth along with the police chief and Lieutenant Greg Ripberger.
I grabbed the mop and tried to hold the snake's head down, and that didn't work. Lieutenant Ripberger kind of stepped aside next to me and grabbed the snake by the head.
And as they uncoiled the snake from him, we were able to grab his legs, and he wasn't breathing. Didn't look like he had any kind of chest movement whatsoever.
Eventually, Wilkins started breathing. Medics rushed him to UC Medical Center. The chief says nothing prepares officers for what they saw today.
Our priority is to protect life, so sometimes you got to put fear aside and just do what you got to do.
And so just a few minutes ago, the owner came back to the store, and he was nice enough to speak with us briefly off camera. He does have some bandages on his arm, and basically what he said was his version is a little bit different than what the police say. He said that what happened initially was the snake did bite him on the arm, and then it began to wrap itself around his leg, and when he went to take a step, he fell backwards and hit his head and lost consciousness. But again, fortunately, he is out of UC Hospital tonight and is doing much better. Reporting live tonight from Newport, Angela Ingram, Local 12 News. Rob, back to you.
That is a stunning update to the story because the police officers thought at one point he was dead, right? When this snake was wrapped around his head and chest.
From the 911 calls, which, I mean, you have to think is pretty authentic. You can hear the panic in her voice. She must have thought that he really needed some serious help. And from what the police say that they saw here, that differs sharply from what he said. But I just saw him. He walked up here. He had his arm bandaged. And he was nice to talk to us, but kind of wanted his privacy. So you kind of let people have their distance, especially when they've been in the hospital. And we don't want to come off as too intrusive with our camera. But he did say that what happened to him was he was bitten as he was going through this process, and then the snake wrapped itself around his leg. He tried to take a step, he fell, he hit his head, and he says that it came off much worse than it actually was. That's his version of what happened. But regardless, these were people who tried to help out in a potentially dangerous situation, and it ended up well for him.
Wow, great story. Thanks very much. New tonight,